Welcome to episode 11 of A New Way to Love, Live, and Lead. I'm your host, Cheryne Blom, a master coach, author, speaker, and the founder of the Self-Mastery Hub, your online platform for self-inquiry, healing, and growth. This podcast is here to remind you midlife isn't a crisis. It's a climax. Each week, we'll explore how to break old patterns, build authentic confidence, and live with intention so you can thrive in this powerful chapter of your life. There's a quiet moment many of us reach in midlife, when the noise fades just enough for us to notice how far we've drifted from ourselves. We've built careers, raised families, kept everything afloat. But somehow along the way, we forget to include us. If you've ever thought, I don't even know what I want anymore, you're not alone. Today's episode is about the power of self-connection, the art of coming home to yourself after years of self-abandonment. Let's name what we mean by self-abandonment and self-connection. Self-abandonment is what happens when you disconnect from your truth to stay connected to others. We are other people focused. You betray what you feel, need, or believe. And this is all to keep the peace or gain approval or avoid rejection. It sounds like you saying, I'm fine, or it's easier if I just do it, or I'll deal with it later. Underneath those words, live fear. Fear of being too much, not enough, or unloved. And over time, this becomes a pattern. You silence your needs. You shrink your light, and you start performing instead of expressing. Self-abandonment is the quiet erosion of self-trust. But this podcast is all about a new way to love and live and lead. And so self-connection, on the other hand, is the act of remembering yourself. It's when you pause, tune in, and choose truth over performance. You honor your emotions, listen to your intuition, and respond with authenticity. When you're self-connected, you don't need to chase approval because you trust yourself. You don't need to earn love because you become love. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. Meeting yourself with honesty, curiosity, and compassion, moment by moment. And self-connection sits at the heart of my coaching model. And next season is dedicated entirely to this topic because it is so important and it is the pathway to self-empowerment. Disconnection can be subtle. It often hides behind competence or caretaking. And here are some examples of when we are disconnected. We say yes when our body screams no. We agree to help and then feel resentment later. We scroll for hours, not for joy, but to numb discomfort. We replay conversations and worry what other people think. And we are exhausted, but keep pushing ourselves because rest feels lazy. And then when we do, we end up feeling guilty. Each of these is an example of micro self-abandonment, a moment you step away from your essence to protect your ego. But the good news? You can return home at any moment. In my book, The Courage to Be You, I talk about habits of connection because connection isn't a one-time revelation. It's a daily devotion. And here's how to practice it. So the first thing is to pause. Notice the instant you leave yourself or abandon yourself. Maybe it's when you say yes too quickly, or when you become defensive, or when your chest tightens in people-pleasing energy. And the next step is to breathe and create a space between your reaction and your response. The breath is the bridge from your ego to your essence, from the mind to the body. And your breath is the ultimate self-regulator. Thirdly, name what's true. Ask yourself gently, what am I feeling right now? Naming your truth instantly grounds you in self-awareness. And nurture yourself. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Perhaps it's rest, or reassurance, or some self-care, or simply self-compassion. Then meet that need intentionally. These 4 steps, pause, breathe, name, and nurture, are small acts that rebuild the muscle of self-trust. They take you back to you. Each moment you choose connection over avoidance, you rewire your nervous system for safety, truth, and love. Self-connection is the antidote to fear. It transforms reactivity into responsiveness, confusion into clarity, and self-doubt into confidence. Every time you choose truth over pleasing, authenticity over approval, or curiosity over judgment, you strengthen your connection to your inner power. Because your presence isn't something you have to find. It's something you remember. And every breath that brings you back to yourself is a homecoming. And like I said, I'm going to go into detail about self-connection because my biggest aha moment was that every time I've let myself down, or every time I've been left with regret or shame, it's when I was disconnected from myself. I didn't speak up. I didn't put a boundary. I didn't put myself first. I didn't honor my needs. I didn't listen to my intuition or follow through. And so when we are connected, it's the ultimate state of honoring ourselves. And so my reflection question for you today is to take a moment and ask yourself, where have I been abandoning myself lately? And what's one loving act of reconnection I can take today? Give yourself some time to think about that question and answer it as honestly and authentically as you can. And here's what I'd love you to take away from this episode. Self-connection is the foundation of self-love. Every pause is a doorway back to yourself. When you honor your truth, you expand your capacity for peace, joy, and intimacy. And check out the resources in the show notes of this episode so that you can download your intentional living worksheet because it's a beautiful tool to help you reconnect daily with what matters to you most. And also, if you haven't done already, take the hidden persona quiz because this quiz uncovers your people-pleasing persona, and knowing your persona is the fastest way to recognize when you are disconnecting and abandoning yourself. And knowing that truth allows you to quickly adjust and come back. So check that out. And as always, if this episode resonated, please follow the podcast. Please rate it and share it with someone who's ready to come home to themselves. Thanks for joining me on a new way to love, live, and lead. And remember, you're not too late. You are right on time. And your most exciting, fulfilling, and powerful chapter begins right now.